In the sun-scorched village of Koroba, where dust clung to bare feet and hunger stalked every hut, lived a young woman named Leona. Though only 22, her eyes were dimmed by years of grief. Her mother had died when she was still a girl, and since then her world had unraveled. Her father, Dek, once a cheerful palm wine tapper, had become a bitter drunk. To add to her misery, he married a sharp-tongued woman named Marisa, who delighted in turning Leona into a servant. From dawn until night, Leona cooked, fetched water, tilled the farm, and often went to bed hungry. The villagers pitied her but stayed silent, fearful of Dek's temper. It was during this bleak time that Joran, a wiry young man from Daresun, arrived. He worked on Dek's farm for 3 months, sweating from sunrise to sunset, clearing weeds, planting yam, carrying heavy loads. Yet not once was he paid. "Come tomorrow," Dek always said. But tomorrow never came. One blazing afternoon, Joran finally snapped. He stormed into the compound, voice hoarse but firm. "Sir, I need my wages today." Dek scratched his beard, eyes glinting with cruelty. His gaze landed on Leona, who was sweeping under the harsh sun. "You want payment?" he asked. "Yes, sir." "Then take that girl," Dek sneered, pointing at his daughter. Joran froze. "Take her. She's useless here. Take her to the city. That's your pay." Leona dropped her broom, her lips trembling. "Father, please." "Silence." Dek barked. "Be grateful someone even wants you." From the doorway, Marisa folded her arms, smirking. "Let her go. One less burden." Leona collapsed to her knees, begging, but no one listened. Joran studied her, thin, weary, yet with a strength hidden beneath her frailty. Quietly, he murmured, "She's beautiful." "What did you say?" Dek snapped. "I'll take her," Joran said. And just like that, Leona's fate was sealed. With tears staining her cheeks, she stuffed her few belongings into a black nylon bag. Her little half-brother, Toving, stood by the hut, silently weeping as he waved goodbye. No embrace, no prayer, no farewell from her father. The journey to the city was long and dusty. Leona sat by the window of a rattling bus, clutching her bag, her face pale with fear. She whispered silent prayers. "God, don't let this man be like my father. Please, give me peace." Joran sat quietly beside her, his gaze fixed ahead. But every so often, his eyes flicked toward Leona, reading her exhaustion, sighing heavily to himself. When they reached the city, noise and movement surrounded her. Tall buildings, rushing cars, people hurrying in every direction. Leona had never seen such a place. Joran led her into a small tricycle that rattled down narrow lanes until they stopped at a tall black gate fringed by flowering hedges. Inside, the compound was serene. The main house stood tall and white, surrounded by neat flowerbeds and a bubbling fountain. But Joran did not lead her there. Instead, he showed her a smaller building tucked behind, the servants' quarters. "This is where I stay," he said with a faint smile. Leona stepped inside. It was simple but clean, a bed with fresh sheets, windows that opened, a roof that didn't leak. Compared to the tattered mat she had slept on in her father's kitchen, it felt like another world. "I just got a job as a guard here," Joran explained. "The madam who owns the house gave me this place." Leona took a deep breath. For the first time in years, she felt it, peace. Quietly, she whispered, "If this is your plan, God, then let it be so." 2 days after arriving in the city, Leona woke to the smell of fried eggs and tomatoes drifting from the kitchen. Sunlight streamed softly through the curtains, warming the small room like a gentle embrace. For the first time in years, she had slept in peace, no shouting, no hunger pangs, no fear. Stretching slowly, she stepped into the kitchen. Joran stood over the stove, stirring a pan. He turned with a smile. "Morning, Leona. I made breakfast. Did you sleep well?" "Yes," she replied, her voice light, almost shy. They ate together, sharing an easy laugh, the kind that felt natural. After breakfast, Joran wiped his hands on a cloth and looked at her with a spark in his eyes. "Get dressed. I want you to meet someone." "Who?" she asked. "You'll see. Wear something simple but nice." Leona slipped into one of the few dresses Joran had bought her since they arrived. She combed her hair carefully, her heart unexpectedly racing. Together they walked past the flower-lined path toward the large main house. The heavy black door opened slowly to reveal a graceful woman in her late 50s. Her eyes were sharp yet kind, as if she could read a person's soul. Joran greeted her warmly. "Good morning, madam." Good morning, Joran, the woman replied. Her gaze shifted to Leona. And who is this beautiful young lady? This is Leona, Joran said. My wife. Leona's eyes widened in surprise, but the woman only smiled gently. Ah, so this is the bride you spoke of. Even lovelier than you described. Come in, dear. Leona stepped inside, awestruck. The living room gleamed, polished floors, glittering chandeliers, elegant furniture. The woman held Leona's hand. You are welcome here. My name is Madame Irelia. Call me Madam, and feel free. If you need anything, don't hesitate to ask. Leona lowered her head, blushing. Thank you, Madam. After polite conversation and refreshments, they returned to the quarters. That evening, after sweeping the compound and tidying the kitchen, Leona sat on the edge of the bed. Joran knelt nearby, repairing a wardrobe handle. Joran, she said softly. Yes. Her hands twisted nervously. When my father gave me to you, I felt discarded, like trash. I feared you'd treat me worse than him. But you didn't. You respected me. You even cooked for me. Her voice cracked. I want to thank you. I don't regret coming here anymore. Joran set the tool aside and sat beside her, taking her hand. I would never harm you, Leona. That's not the man I want to be. He hesitated, then smiled faintly. I liked you from the first day I saw you at the farm. I wanted to approach your father properly, but I was afraid he'd laugh at me for having nothing. When he offered you as payment, I was shocked. Yet, I felt like a door had opened. Leona lowered her eyes. I don't love you yet, Joran. I know, he replied quickly. I'm not rushing you. She met his gaze slowly. But I like how you treat me, like I'm not a mistake, but a queen. That's because you are, Joran whispered. A queen hidden in the wrong palace. Leona laughed softly through her tears. For the first time in years, she felt seen. Love had not yet blossomed, but something had begun, respect, trust, and a fragile hope. A month passed, and life in the quarters grew brighter for Leona. Each morning, she woke with gratitude. She cooked meals she had never tried before, scribbling new recipes into a small notebook Joran had gifted her. Her confidence began to return, piece by piece, like dawn breaking after a long night. One afternoon, while helping Madame Irelia carry groceries, Leona was invited to sit in the elegant living room. Madame studied her thoughtfully, then said, Joran told me you're a wonderful cook, and I agree. You've been helpful here, and I see your heart, humble, hardworking. Thank you, Madame, Leona replied shyly. My cook recently left for abroad with her family, Madame continued. I've been searching for someone reliable. I believe you are that person. Leona's eyes widened. She nearly dropped the towel in her hands. Me? Madam, thank you. I don't know what to say. You've earned it, child, Madame said warmly, patting her hand. Tears filled Leona's eyes. May I share something with you? Of course. My dream has always been to go to school, university, if possible. I never had the chance. Madame's face lit up. Education. That's beautiful. I love girls who dream of knowledge. Hold on to that. She embraced Leona, who left the house with her heart swelling. That evening, she rushed to the quarters, calling Joran's name excitedly. You won't believe it. Madame offered me the cook's position. She'll pay me monthly. And when I told her about school, she encouraged me. Joran's face lit up with pride. He pulled her into an embrace. That's my wife, my working woman. Stop, Leona laughed, but her cheeks glowed. That night, however, questions lingered. As they lay in bed, Leona whispered, Joran, why haven't you touched me? Most men would have, the first night. He sat up slowly. You're right, but I'm not like most men. I didn't bring you here to use you. I want you to love me in your own time, when your heart is ready, not because of pressure. His voice softened. You've never known what it feels like to be cherished. I want to give you that. Leona's eyes filled. You mean that? I do, he said, kissing her forehead. Sleep well, my queen. For the first time, she felt safe in a man's arms, not as property, but as a person worthy of love. But peace rarely lasted. Only days into her new role as cook, something unsettled her. She was stirring soup in the kitchen when the door opened. A tall, handsome young man stood in the frame, eyes wide with interest. It was Cassian, Madame Irelia's only son. He leaned against the counter, a mischievous smile curling on his lips. So you're the one my mother spoke about. She said you're humble, hardworking, and beautiful. I see now she wasn't exaggerating. Leona lowered her gaze, pretending to focus on the pot. Good afternoon, sir. Don't call me sir, Cassian said smoothly. That makes me feel old. Call me Cassian. Leona shook her head quickly. It wouldn't be proper. He smirked. You're respectful. I like that. His eyes lingered far too long before he finally turned and left, throwing one last glance over his shoulder. Leona's heart pounded. That evening, she told Joran, who laughed softly. Cassian. He's just playful. Don't worry. But Leona couldn't shake the unease in her chest. Something about Cassian's gaze warned her this was only the beginning. Days turned into weeks, and Cassian's interest in Leona only grew bolder. She often felt his eyes on her while she worked in the kitchen, the air thick with an unease she tried to ignore. One afternoon, while peeling yam, she turned to find him standing silently in the doorway again. There's something magical about the way you cook, he said with that same mischievous grin. Leona stiffened. Good afternoon, sir. Leona, Cassian said smoothly, stepping closer. I'll be direct. I like you. You're beautiful, intelligent, hardworking. I don't just throw compliments, I mean it. I want you to be mine. Her knife froze mid-slice. I can change your life, he continued. I'll send you abroad, London, Canada, anywhere you want. I'll buy you fine clothes, a new phone, give you money every week. Why waste your youth with that poor gatekeeper? What has he done for you? Nothing. Say yes, and I'll make sure he's taken care of. He can leave quietly. You, on the other hand, can finally live. Leona's pulse raced, but her voice was steady. With respect, sir, I'm not interested. I'm married. I'm focused on my work and my dream of education. I won't trade that for fleeting riches. Cassian blinked, then scoffed. Marriage? Don't tell me you call what you have with Joran a marriage. I do, Leona said firmly. And I'm proud of it. He treats me with respect. He may not have much, but I know God will bless him. You're dreaming. Better to dream with a man who loves me, she replied, than to live a lie with someone who only wishes to use me. His smile vanished. You'll regret this. No, sir, she said, voice unwavering. I'll gladly make the same choice again and again. Cassian stormed out, but Leona's knees nearly buckled. That evening, she told Joran, who clenched his fists but forced a calm smile. If he ever crosses the line, tell me. I'll protect you. But deep in her heart, she knew this was not over. The next morning, unable to carry the burden alone, Leona knocked on Madame Irelia's door. The older woman welcomed her warmly. My daughter, you don't look yourself. Come in. Leona drew a deep breath. Madam, it's about your son. He's been making me uncomfortable. He says things, promises me things. He told me to leave my husband and be with him. He even threatened to have Joran dismissed if I refuse. Silence fell. Madame's eyes narrowed, then she spoke calmly. Leona, you're a beautiful and intelligent woman. Maybe my son simply sees your potential. Perhaps you should think about it. We could give you everything you want, education, comfort, even help Joran start something of his own. Leona's heart sank. She rose slowly, hands trembling but voice firm. With respect, madam, I'm not that kind of woman. I didn't marry Joran for money. I married him because when I had nothing, he gave me dignity. When my own father discarded me, he gave me worth. If your son does not stop, we'll pack our things and go. I won't stay in a place where I'm disrespected. Without waiting for a reply, she left, tears streaming but her head held high. Back in the quarters, she still trembled. She had drawn a line she would not cross, no matter the cost. Leona returned to the quarters shaken, her heart pounding with anger and disbelief. She had stood against both Cassian and Madame Irelia, but the sting of betrayal lingered. How could a woman she respected try to place a price tag on her loyalty? As she tried to calm herself, her eyes landed on a stack of money sitting on the table, bundled, thick, and gleaming. She froze. Joran, she called, her voice sharp. What is this? Where did all this money come from? Joran rose slowly from the bed, his face calm. Sit, Leona. Please. Her chest heaved. Talk to me. He smiled faintly. I've been saving little by little, for years. My dream was to start a business. But after today, after you chose me over wealth, I realized something. You deserve more. You've always dreamed of school. Use this money. Fulfill your dream. Leona's eyes brimmed with tears, but she shook her head. No, Joran. That money is yours. Your dream matters, too. He stepped closer. But I love you. And I love you, she said firmly. That's why we'll use this money wisely together. We'll rent a small shop, start a food business, build something of our own. When it grows, I'll go to school step by step. I don't want a mansion. I want peace. Joran stared at her, overcome. Leona, you're more than I prayed for. He pulled her close, and they sealed their resolve with a kiss, not born of desperation, but of unity. The next morning, however, a knock came at the door. To Leona's surprise, Madame Irelia stood there with Cassian at her side. My daughter, Madame said softly, we came to apologize. We were wrong. Cassian was foolish, and I failed you. Cassian lowered his head. I was blinded by pride. But Joran is lucky, you're a rare woman. Leona's eyes softened but remained cautious. Then Madame added, yesterday, we called you our wife, and we meant it. You will understand soon. They left before she could respond, leaving her puzzled. That evening, Joran returned, weary but smiling. Leona crossed her arms. Where have you been? There's something I must tell you, he said, taking her hands. His voice grew heavy. I've lied to you. Her heart skipped. About what? Joran exhaled deeply. Cassian isn't just the landlady's son. He's my brother. Madame Irelia, she's my mother. Leona gasped, nearly stumbling. What? I came here disguised as a guard because I needed to know if someone could love me for myself, not my wealth. Too many women before loved only what I had. I was wrong to hide it from you, but please, please forgive me. Leona was silent, then shot him a teasing glance. You lied to me, Joran. Now you owe me a mansion and a car. He burst out laughing, relief flooding his face. Consider it done, my queen. In time, word spread. The humble farmhand was actually a wealthy heir. Villagers whispered in awe, and even Dek trembled when he heard. He called Leona, begging forgiveness. But she refused to be pulled back into the shadows of her past. Years later, Leona stood in a doctor's white coat, walking proudly across a graduation stage. Joran cheered louder than anyone. That's my wife. Afterward, he embraced her tightly. I'm proud of you, Leona. You're mine forever. She smiled, tears shining. Thank you for believing in me. Thank you for everything. Sometime later, Joran drove her through a luxurious estate. At last, he stopped before a gleaming white mansion with golden gates. Handing her the keys, he said, This is yours. Leona gasped, laughing and crying at once. And when she told him she was 3 months pregnant, his joy shook the skies. From being rejected to becoming cherished, Leona finally understood. Her name had never been just a name. It had always been a prophecy.